Good evening and welcome to episode 15 of Get It Forward podcast. And tonight we've got with us a man who's nearly hung his boots up.
Not quite.
Not quite. Manager in the North East Counties Premier League, Mr. Greg Young.
Thank you.
Welcome, Greg.
Thank you.
What's coming on,
Yeah,
mate?
no,
Top man.
appreciate it. Thank you for asking
Thanks
me.
for coming on. You've watched a few of these anyway, mate.
I have, mate, yeah.
Relaxed environment, mate. No pressure from us. As always, mate, this is about you and about you telling your story and where you've been in your football career. Obviously, we know you've played at the highest level, and then obviously now cutting your teeth in managerial side, of it, which is an eye opener, mate, I'm sure, which we'll get onto later on. But where did it all start for your love of football? Like, where did you start with your football?
Yeah, so it's a funny one because I come from a family of like absolute just sport fanatics. Both my parents were PE teachers, so I just had sport everywhere. It wasn't just football; it was golf, rugby, cricket, doing everything. And my dad were he loved football. Wednesday I went to season ticket, but he actually played rugby. So my granddad didn't like it, but he got him playing rugby. So when I was younger, my dad took me to rugby. So I started out on Sunday mornings playing rugby. Yeah, so I'm doing that. I think, but
That's
people,
why I like to challenge.
that's what I think. People who see me play now, they go, it makes sense. Get my head and stuck in. I used to love it, tackling and running. And then I love football though. I still love football. My dad did, and all we just played. And then I used to on the streets with my mates. They're out playing, and they've gone, we're going to these football trials. Do you want to come? And because I didn't want to go home, I went, yeah, I'll come. Yeah. So I went along, and these lads on my street, 2 years older than me, took me along. Went to these trials, didn't really expect to get in, they had no actual desire. I just went and they're like, he needs to play, he's a good player, and picked me for team. So I've gone home to my dad and gone, by the way, I've been picked for this football team because you've got rugby, mate, on Sunday mornings.
Seem like where you'll be.
Yeah. you can't play, tell him. Tell him. You've got to play rugby. And do you know what? My mum went, no, let him play football. So it started from there, and I played I was like 8-year-old.
Oh, this way?
This way, like a Bessica Juniors.
Okay. Right.
So local Sunday League team, and that got me playing. And then as soon as I play, I never look back. And I still like watching rugby, but it was 100% the right decision. And that got me playing there and just playing locally for them. And I moved up the year groups. I suddenly started playing with mates. So like I was 2 years above myself. Then started playing with people that I went to school with, and just enjoying it and just playing. I realised actually I'm not bad. I'm all right. You know, I were a left winger, a stroke striker. Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs. If anyone sees me playing now, absolute opposite of that. That's where I started. And yeah, it went from there really. And I don't know how it happened, but I got picked up by Donny Rovers. I mean, it was different, wasn't it? Yeah. It's not the academies they are now. It was like the centre of excellence. I can't even remember how or why. I think maybe word goes round, don't they? Oh, he's a good young player.
Bessica junior football still going like
it
that?
It is. Do you know what? They've got a men's team now. They've got a men's team, so they've built it up to like all the way through. There's a couple of players who've gone on to professional contracts.
Obviously, we've had his 15th guest, and obviously, I always love the early stories about how you got into sport. Your family, how they wanted you to get into sport. And it's great for communication skills, friendships and stuff like that. There's no better. But I always like the fact that every time we've had someone on and they've been at a junior football club, that football club's still going. Still going strong. Kids are still turning up because they've still got age groups from under 8s right through to 18s, and like you said,
they've got a men's team.
A lot of them now with men's teams as well. So how old were you then when Donny come knocking?
I think I must have been about 9 or 10. But then you still play for your Sunday League team, you train. It was back in the day. It was very different to what academies are now.
You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
absolutely. And the better training. Now where it's
one or other.
And I think sometimes
even to the point now we have obviously with schoolboys, Barnsley dictating how many minutes they can have on the Saturday with schoolboys. Come on. Yeah, football, and you're telling a kid that he's got to come off after 35 minutes.
The schoolboys were massive when I was young. I mean, so that was the other thing. I mean, a bit later on, a couple of under 11s, that's when you get your Donny schoolboys, and it was massive. It was just as important with academies, because academies didn't play games on the Sundays until they were like 12, 13 back in the day. So everyone played, whether you were at Man United, Man City. We had Ben Muirhead, who was my age group, Man United, he was him and Pennant, and we had a really good Donny Boys team, but you used to look forward to Saturday mornings playing against Chef Boys, Barnsley. You go further afield if you did well in National Cup, and they were brilliant. And but the scouts were always there at games, and that's kind of how I got picked up for Wednesday.
So Donny had been at Bellevue at the time.
Bellevue, you used to have the pen, so the back Bellevue.
Yeah.
They used to have the pen behind goal. It was like concrete. And then they used to have these mats that you'd been there and you'd soaked in rain a bit soft. You used to come off gritting your knees and you used to love playing little five-a-sides.
But it was
it's class. It was brilliant, really good, really good. They was there at Rovers and you train like a couple of times a week there, or once a week to start with, and playing Sunday morning. Like you said, the best of both worlds. You're playing with your mates.
Just playing football all the time.
Yeah. And
were you always one of them, Greg, that were like during your childhood, if you weren't 6-week holidays, ball, cricket bat,
always
tennis racket,
anything.
That's gone on it a bit, like the social media.
It's perfect for him though if his parents are both teachers as well.
Yeah. They'd have been equipment on.
Get it free. That's it.
Just fetches a bat and ball.
My mum were like a top badminton player. She still plays now. She's 72 and she plays like for England badminton. So she like does all that. And then my dad cricket, going to cricket club. You're playing sport in the like Sunday tennis. When Wimbledon were on, like local tennis courts were just rammed on it, and then I used to like anyway, and I've joined back tennis club and that. I thought
tennis were on. We used to do chalk on the road.
We used to do the same play out with mates. We used to do like Olympics. We used to play Olympics, so you had like a bit of our estate, and then you had like 800 metres was running round the road and then back again. We used to have me drive and then long jump pit, run jumping into grass, and we used to do all stuff like that. And obviously, I'm a PE teacher now, coming back to it, and I don't think you see I've done PE athletics today, and they can't do 400 metres running around track. No. I said, boys, this isn't long distance. This is 400 metres.
It's just one track.
It's one track. It's like 40. They do it in foot sprint, and they're like doing 100 metres and they're walking. I'm thinking, I was running about everywhere.
Just used to be a thing, didn't it?
Yeah.
We used to go out you used to go out in the morning, 9 o'clock, you got 6-week holidays and come back in when it was dark.
I think we said the other week, didn't we? You live on 3 ice pops all day. Mr. Freeze.
It used to be great, but even like stuff like that, I think that would just used to push you in a direction of wanting to play like sport.
I think it gives you like skill. So just when you're playing like out with your mates, you learn and you're playing, you're climbing, it's giving you that coordination. It's giving you that skills, the transferable. So even if you're playing cricket and running about, you're moving. You're playing. I know the players who play in academies are training and they get all that, and they probably do. But as a general rule, I don't think the general public get that anymore. No. They've not got those key skills, those physical skills.
No. I'm laughing because I was driving to Redfern's training on the Thursday before, and I drove through a estate at Royston.
Yeah.
And then I actually stopped to get my Kirby going off.
Yeah.
I thought, brilliant. I want to get out of the car and have a game.
I thought it was dead, Kirby. It's going back.
So from Donny to Chef Wednesday.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I'm playing for.
So your dad was a Chef Wednesday fan as well?
He was a Wednesday night, and the whole family obviously seen growing up. My dad stopped going to Walesborough because he was playing rugby, but my granddad still had season ticket for years growing up. He was brought up right near Hillsborough. And I was just playing for Donny Boys. My dad, because he was a teacher, helped run the team. I was playing up front, like I said to you. David Hurst, my favourite player. So I used to like mimic him, like run a bit like, like his head used to go a bit like chicken. He used to sprint and make his runs. I used to watch him when I played. So I was playing up front making these runs. They didn't find me with some balls, but the scout went up to my dad, who was manager, didn't know my dad. He went, I'm just... scout from Sheffield Wednesday, like number 9. I think he got movements really good as a striker. He reminds me of David Hurst a little bit the way he ran on. I said, my dad's gone. My dad didn't off. My dad didn't know who was number 9. He'd forgotten. He went 9. He went 9. Oh yeah. He says, well, will you let his parents know? And for me, my dad went, well, it's me. So what was his name? The scout, I can't remember his name. But so he took me down to trials. But I was still,
I've got a picture of your dad saying, just turn around. Oh yes, I agree.
Are you sure? Are you sure you want him?
It's going 9. We're 9. I bet that was great.
It was
supportive.
It was.
And saying like you've got a trial there. So you went to Middlewood, did you?
Middlewood, and then it was Clive Baker. I don't know if he's a bit of a legend of the. He was like old school. Clive. He was a bit like Turnbull, but he was as a young kid. He's scary. Yeah. And he wasn't, but he, as a kid, the way he had to help people, and he just spoke to me, he was like, you tempo, and
proper footballing man.
But he was from, I think my favourite, he was a Donny, he was from Donny originally.
Okay.
And I think, I was a Donny boy, and he thought, oh yeah, he's Doncaster, I like, and I came in, arm round me. I must have done all right in trial, and he wanted to sign me, but the problem was I was contracted to Rovers. But Rovers at the time were, talking like I was 12, so like 95. They were crap. They were on the way down, weren't they? And I think they were on about getting rid of the centre of excellence. But they heard that Wednesday were after me, said, "Oh no, keep them." And then they had to end up paying compensation. They paid like 5-10 grand or something. And obviously with Premier League at times, they had, but it was still centre of excellence when I first signed. So you still. It wasn't like it is now where it was 3 nights a week. It wasn't until I got to like under 15, 16 that started becoming even more like training Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays,
I
playing
think
Sundays.
By that age, then
yeah, it is. Yeah, but you get them at 8 and stuff, don't you? And putting them in, yeah.
Were you there with Matt Amshaw at the time?
Amy was, so Amy was a year above me. We had Amy.
Most congratulate Amy, by the way.
Yes, well done. He's done well as well, hasn't he? He's done really well.
Robin United job, 3-year contract. So well done, Matt. I went to school with Matt. Like,
He's
a good kid.
He is.
You would have been similar age to him then.
Yeah, he was a year above. Yeah. I had like Tony Crane, Chris Stringer my year, James Tev, Alex Callery.
Yeah, I played with Alex.
They were all my age group. Adam Quinn, who was centre half, who I ended up playing with later on down the line. Greeny were the one. So obviously later on we'd signed and we got to under 16s, and like you had like James Tev, Callery, Luke. Strutt. They were all like the top players.
I only know because Aaron was at Wednesday up to be under 16. So probably played at the same team.
Yeah, and they were the better players. And at that point, because it goes through peaks and troughs, and I say I've got mates who have got kids in academies, and they say, "Youngie, what's it like? What do you reckon?" I said, "Well, I were like that. Under 12s, I was best player. Under 13s, I was still, and then 14s, I dipped. 15s, I went up. 16s, I was one of them that didn't know whether I was going to get a YTS. Where other those did. Me and Greeny were on that edge of, are we going to get a YTS? Nicky Bine. So there was us. Yeah, us. They were all us. And we were like, are we going to get one? And I think at that point, Greeny was still like, he had still hadn't matured. He still had like squeaky voice, no pubes, and do you know what I mean? And he were like, and he'd not matured into it. And at the time, it was like a bit physical, and he got lost in games just because of his size, but they didn't see past that. No. I didn't know whether I was going to get a contract, and we played Newcastle on Sunday, and they were telling us like whether we got one. Apparently, they told them all on bus on my own because I was from Donny, and all them were like chef. I went, oh no, I went home with my dad. I know. So I'm waiting, and they said, oh, you're going to get a letter. So I'm sat all week, I'm waiting. I remember I was at school and we had a PE lesson in the afternoon. I thought, well, let's come in today. So I bunked off school and went home, got this letter in the hand, and it was there. And I thought, oh, Jesus, this art's going. Because I didn't know. I was literally, I was average that season. I was.
It's like the moment on Billy Elliot, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he reads that letter.
Yeah.
And because people watching this now from younger generation do not understand that that's how it would go.
No. It comes through post, a letter to home, and you open it up, and I thought, oh, it's thick. That's a positive.
You get letter at season after, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
To be fair,
he's already 6 weeks into pre-season. He's released 6 weeks ago.
But it was good news, I'm guessing.
It was good news, and I got it. And do you know what? I was thinking. I thought they had under. It was when they didn't have under 18s. They had under 17s and under 19s Premier, and I probably got one because I filled a place at that point because. They have academies, don't they? Can't. How many are going to make it out of the academy? Who are going to make football careers? Probably one, if any, two. And
left peg gone in your favour.
Left peg gone in my favour, and they probably thought he's not really going to make it. But we need a left. When I was playing left back at the time,
balance. Yeah.
We need some balance. We ain't got a left back. He's going to probably. We need to play, and he's done all right. And I was not centre half at that point. I wasn't tall enough. I was 16. I was short. I shot up later. And I was like, well, I don't know. I really didn't know and got it. And then got the YT and you think, well, all right, I can have a right good go here.
Yeah. Right, we've got that letter up there.
Class. I went strutting back to school. Strutting back to school going, I want to be a footballer.
Leave letter in detention.
To be twagging school. But it was good. You think, I've got a chance. Yeah. Still at the back of my mind though, I'm still thinking, right, I've got a lot to do, because I knew at that point I wasn't one of the better players, or I wasn't playing the best. And I think there was a reason.
Have you always been quite honest with yourself about that as well? You know, like for your career, like performances wise, and
I know, and
biggest critic sort of thing.
Yeah, I think you have to be, and I think some of those players probably thought they were going to go on and make it. And I've got a mate who's played, and he was told he was the best when he was young, and I think that's gone against him when you get rejection, because you've been put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
I never put myself on that pedestal, and I realise actually, when people see me play, I'm very limited in my ability in terms of technical skill.
But you're right, a lot of people just go, I'm not doing it then.
No, yeah.
I've had rejection, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm packing in, and they don't realise actually after professional game. There's a good
career
lot. There.
There is a lot, and I keep telling people that, and I keep saying to some of the lads, and this is going back, be the best version of yourself, because I think, and I say to them that's what I've done. I said, out of my ability, I'm very limited. I realised that I'm limited in my ability, but what I've got, I'm quite physically quite strong, because I'm always fit, always very physically strong.
So what you did do well,
and it makes the difference. There was a turning point in my career that probably one of those sliding doors moments. So I'd had my first year playing there, as first year YTS left back, got injured, did my hip away at Sunderland, was out for 3 months. That first year was a bit crap, rubbish really, didn't do that well. Second year, when I was playing left back, we came back and I was still playing left back. It was early on in the season, and Martin Hodge was reserve team manager. And we were down at the training ground, and he had some first team players who hadn't been in the squad. And he had the reserves and the young pros, and they had the youth team. He said, right, we're going to have a game today. And Hodge goes, and I'd shot up by this point instead of high. He went, and they used to call me Bambi. Do you know you do ladders? Yeah. Went through ladders, arms and legs everywhere, falling out. So Bambi, go and play centre half. I went, go on then, I played centre half. And that was a slide doors moment, because I'd never played there before, I'd always played left back. Yeah. And I had, one of those games where everything you do just comes off. Yeah. So I was winning headers. I've not had many. But what I remember thinking, there was a ball to you play. I was thinking, he's playing a ball down line. I went to ping this ball down line. Pulled it, and it went diagged, crossed at right winger. Right winger rang onto it, put it in thing, and scored. I didn't mean it. No one, if you were watching, you were like, what a diag. They're going, what a diag. I meant to play it over there, and it just went straight to his foot. I'll take
it. You stay quiet, like, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
If we're at Wednesday, it's probably them big Puma Kings.
Yeah, it was Puma King. David Hurst wore us, right? And it was one of them, and I made a tackle, one at centre half, so I can't remember who I was playing with, made a bit of a mistake, and I was quite quick when I would sprint back, made a last ditch tackle, cleared it, and you suddenly go like that, and then you're playing centre. You're a centre half. You're a centre half, and that was the start of it. I wasn't good enough to play left back. Centre half, I had my strengths with it. I had a mouth, I talked, and I always spoke. And the rugby thing, I was aggressive, and I headed it, and I was fearless in terms of tackling, and I was actually athletic. I was at the back, maybe people see me now, but I was quite quick, so I could recover and tackle it. It just, my confidence went from I'm not sure I'm good enough to maybe I am. And all those players that were ahead of me suddenly and I started going above them. I then played in reserves. Yep. First game, I'm going to put you in reserves after that game. Played really well. And quite a few of them. But and then that made me, and my confidence went from having a really bad, not sure, to being like one of the better players.
And how were you feeling like, obviously, moved inside? Did you feel more automatically comfortable?
Strange. Yeah, it was like just a moment. Yeah. If I'd had a stink of that game, it might have happened, then I probably would never have played again. I probably wouldn't have played something. But it just happened that I had a good game. I felt comfortable. I felt, this is where I need to. Why have I not been playing here? Yeah.
I don't know if you agree with it, but I always think, obviously being a centre half myself, I always think you're only a tackle away from getting your game back on song.
Yes, you are. You are.
As a left back or right back, if it's all possession and technical games, and you misplace a pass and misplace another pass straight after, it's hard to come back from that. But if you do something wrong, you go back, say the keeper short, he clears it, and there's a bit of a bollocking, you get your head back on by a big tackle, a big header or something, or busting someone. Yeah, I always used to think, I always thought a centre half, you can always go and change where games go, always. Yeah. And like you said, like Youngie's just said, a couple of things that have gone out of modern game now is physicality and talking.
Yeah.
And it used to be the easiest thing in the world.
Easy.
at that era as well, I think what people would forget as well, you were 4-4-2.
Yeah, it was.
So
Yeah.
you're either left back or a centre.
Yeah.
Ideally, for 3 at back, you're probably
Well, I did play later on, and it worked well.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, and you said talking is a massive thing, and I always talked. We'll maybe talk about being a captain at most clubs I've been at, just because I'm vocal, and I talk, and it makes your game easier. I think it switches you on.
Yeah,
but it also switch the centre forwards thinking, I've had it before, and I said, you're going to get it all game, mate. You're going to get tits in your ears, going to be hurting. I'm telling you, your ears going to be hurting today. And then other players around you. I said, I'm never been the best player technically. I think being at the back probably out that. I couldn't play left back now because I wasn't good enough. I could edit, I could kick it, I was reasonably good. Everything was in front of me, and it just made a difference. And like you can talk your way through a game, and it helped.
How did it go then with Wednesday once you started getting into reserve games and
that? I don't want to sound like a dinosaur, but the reserve games, I think, is a big thing that they've gone out of the game for me. It was in terms of playing reserve games. It was so good because what you used to have. We were in the Premier League reserves at the time, so we played like Man United, Liverpool, Everton, Newcastle, Sunderland, Bradford were in it at the time, and you're playing with seasons pros who were, and they used to not. If they weren't playing on Saturday, you'd play. So I played against international players when I was 18, 19. You had international players, or you had Wednesday, probably not international at that time, but they had experienced players next to Steve Harkness, who played at Liverpool. Like he's playing like left back or playing centre half for him, and he's screaming at you and telling you, and you're learning, and it was brilliant. You're testing yourself.
And like all these pro players that are playing in this reserve, they're wanting to impress to get a chance.
They are.
Start or get back in first team, aren't they, and stuff. So
it was mad. We played. I forgot. My dad kept up because he came to Walk games. Every single game I've been to, he's been to, but he always tried to keep the same shit. I'm glad he did it because you look back and you think, well, I've got one out there. I think Curtis Woodhouse put some on Twitter about reserve, and I went, I'm gonna have a look at mine here. Found there were one with Gaza, played against Gaza. He were pissed at times. He played away at Everton. It was honestly, it was funny. We were like, I think it were a corner, and he's on edge at box doing corner. He's going, fucking hell, I need a fart. He's gone to fart. He shit himself. The game falls come in. He's ran off the pitch and like gone out. Well, what's he doing? He's gone off just went missing for 10 minutes. Yeah. He came back out later on. He's, like they put the food on, the cakes and the sandwiches. He's come out and he's getting the ball down. He's got like a cake in his hand eating it. I think he'd been on piss night before. He's got cake, and then I said this to my mate who was at Grimsby later on. He was reserve team goalkeeper on the bench. I said, remember that? I remember that. Yeah. So the kit man was going mad at him because he flipped his slips off onto the ceiling and it's like got shit marks on the ceiling and so it was
sounds like Gaza.
It does, but you play like rubbing yourself like thinking Gaza, Paul Gascoigne, and then we played Liverpool and it were Jari Litmanen, who played for Barcelona, and then you had Gary McAllister, Jamie Redknapp. They were playing.
What in Pontins League? Am I getting that?
Yeah, Pontins.
Was that where it used to be?
Pontins. Yeah.
They used to produce programmes for them games, didn't they?
They did.
Stuff. And a lot of games would have been played at proper stadiums that wouldn't have been at training.
Well, they were. Well, you played at Hillsborough, or you played at Bradford, or you played. There were a couple where Everton we played at but I can't remember we played. We didn't play it.
But the majority,
Villa Park. I remember playing against Dion Dublin. He played. He played centre half, I think, but he was going at Villa Park, and you're like, wow,
I think, like you said, going away from that, but it's kids then stepping up into men's game. So you have to raise your game.
You do, yeah.
Now, 3 or 4 lads who's not had a run out at first team.
No.
You're going to play with kids this week.
Yeah,
it's complete opposite.
Yeah, it is.
If they feel like they're not going to be able to show what they're about, so they'll just start digging kids out.
Yeah, they will.
Fucking shit. This.
So how long were you at Wednesday for?
So I did 3 years. So I did my first year, then I did 3 years, and like I said.
So did I get another deal then?
Yeah, well, it was weird. It was like an extension. So I don't know how they do 2-year YTSs. It was like a 3-year. Right. So they could release you at the end of the second year, or they could keep you on for the third year.
At their discretion.
At their discretion. So they could get rid of you. They didn't after the second year, and then third year they kept quite a few at lads, and they told a load of lads at Christmas, you go in like you can might as well go and find yourself now another club. You've had 2.5 years. You're not going to get a contract. They told me, Alex Callery, and a lad called Dean Cropper, striker, who ended up playing at Matlock and Lincoln later on. Yeah. So us three said, they're probably going to be something like a year's pro for you. So we were like buzzing, like thinking, something's there. And then ITV did still collapse at the time when they had that. And then I don't know if it was an excuse, but it got to the summer. And he said, there's no there for you now. And we were like...
So all three of you?
All three of us. I think Alex, where did he go first? I can't remember where he went. It may be like... Might have been I don't know if it was Stockton Straight. Workshop maybe. Dean Cropper went to Lincoln and then... it might have been. He was like a winger. Dean the striker and me centre half. So he actually went in the league. He went to Lincoln. And then... He said to me, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I had a trial at, I did have an agent at the time, so I was doing all right. Okay. I mean, I don't really like him. But I didn't really know, I don't, it's like a thing, I don't really, need him and stuff. But he says, I've got your trial at Grimsby. And Grimsby in the same league, in the Championship at the time. I went, go on then. And it just happened that I had another one of those games. I think I've only had 2 in my career, and I had a decent game.
You were under no illusion though, going to Grimsby on a centre half.
Centre half.
You weren't going as a David.
No, not then. Definitely centre half. Or Nigel Pearson at this point, or a Des Well. Not quite good enough for Des, but
So you
went there. We played. It was Paul Groves. Paul Groves was manager. Rogers was assistant. I can't remember his first name. And then Wilkinson. What was his first name? We just call him Wilco, so I can't remember. But he was like reserve team manager, stroke first team manager. Right. He was class. Right. So he used to take the reserves, and he really looked after young lads and young pros. Mm-hmm. And I went in. He made me feel welcome, and he said to me, "We think we want to sign you." Decent.
It's decent commute from
it. It is. So I used to travel in, and I was like, we want to think we're going to sign. Like you do.
We're driving then at times.
Driving, I would drive. But I think the first week I did and went and stopped to it, young lads in the P&Bs. And I did a couple of days. My mate was there, Darren Mansram, who ended up signing. He was a year below me, but he was a white. And I went, I can't do this. I'm going to drive. It's not far. So I drove, and then pre-season's going. And I'm thinking, are they going to sign me?
Still not been offered.
Still not signed. Yeah, sign. And then it got to like deadline where you're going to sign. It was pittance in terms of money, that first contract, but I didn't care. You know what I mean?
No, still in game.
I'm still in game. I've got a chance.
For just a year.
It was a year, so I signed a year and playing reserve, but training with first team every day. And I'm thinking, I'm doing well here. I'm doing well in training. So I knocked on his door and I said, look, Grovesy, I think I'm pushing. What do I need to do? So, well, I'm not sure like you're strong enough to be playing in Championship at this moment. And to be fair, and I think that might just limit you. You have done really well. You're bossing it. You're too good for the reserves. I was captain of reserves and playing really well in that. I played the Premier League reserves, then I was playing like I think it was the Pontins. Yeah. So the level was slightly. And I was bossing that, and I was thinking I'm knocking on his door. And it's hard with Championship playing a young centre half, isn't it? But I knocked on his door anyway. And he went, you're not strong enough. So I thought, okay then. So I went every morning. I was just in gym. And he used to like going in gym. So I was just smashing bench press out in front of him, doing pull-ups. Every morning, see him. And it might call you busy. Do you know what people say, busy? That really annoys me, because he used to say it, but that's people who are trying to cover up their own kind of... Because I had to be busy. I didn't have the talent or the ability to. I had to be busy.
And also, like if you were, it's like someone in normal work circumstances saying to you, bloody yearly appraisal. You're like this. You're good to something about it.
You do.
It would try your best to make the best you can be.
Absolutely.
And if he was saying that the only thing you're not getting an opportunity in Championship is because you're not strong enough.
And I was making sure in training we had like an old striker called Steve Livingston. He was you were like broke his nose like then and like and I thought, right, look, I'm gonna smash him in training. I thought, sorry, I'm gonna smash him, see what happens. Just show him that I'm not scared of and he's giving me one own back, like we were talking about earlier of having a battle. And he's given me one back and I've not shied down. I've got into him and we're like squaring up to each other in training and I'm thinking, and do you know what, all lads are like, but afterwards he's gone, I love that, I fucking love that from you. And it's like, And I'm thinking, right, well, tell me now, I'm knocking his door again. Am I not good enough? And then the back end of that season, I was getting in squads.
Wow.
So I was getting like I was in squads. I was in squads pretty much most of the season. So you'd go to like, I remember going to.
Did you still watching Wednesday at time?
No, he's come and watch. So do you know what?
Fish and chips.
It's like, fish and chip. You got chip chip shop. But he used to come every game.
Rate club, Greg.
Yeah, great club. He did.
T-shirt.
Although Cleethorpes, you know what I mean, down there.
He actually used to be at Blundell Park. There's a McDonald's there now.
Yeah, there is.
Right on the corner of the ground, there's an old working men's club.
Right, yeah.
My uncle used to own that.
Did he?
Yeah, so he used to run that for years.
Yeah. First, the bench appearance was Burnley, away at Burnley. Got on the bench and like you see your shirt up. Oh, I think I was squad 25 at that point.
Name on back?
Name on back, and you think, am I?
It's 25.
Yeah. You're on bench.
They used to have the young on back. They used to have youngs.
They did. So that first when it was Dixon's, and then my second year, well, it was Young's on front and then Young on back. So I did it, yeah. And you think, oh my God, and I thought, can I get on here? Can I get on? I didn't. But I sat being on bench. I thought, come on then. And I kept being on bench a couple of times and not getting on. And then.
Had he pulled you by this point?
Yeah, he did. He said, look, you're doing really well. Yeah. But it's hard because they were in a relegation battle.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're throwing a young 19-year-old in. I was at centre half, which is a key position. It's a bit of a big risk. And so I get it. And then towards the end of the season, it was probably looking like we were going to go down. Wednesday went down the same year. Oh, wow. Do you know? But I was a bit bitter at that point. I was a massive Wednesday out, and for a couple of years I got bitten. I was yeah, that's what it was. I'm like, at least they've gone down as well. I mean, I'm not like that now, but I was for a year or two. But he put me in away at Reading, and I made my debut away at Reading.
Were you already down?
Yeah, I think we were. We were either down or nearly down. It was like inevitable.
Yeah.
Like 3 games to go, and
again,
he says,
though your psychological bit of it there.
Yeah.
Are you thinking if we do go down?
Yeah.
This is potentially better for me anyway.
Yeah. It possibly was. It probably was. Yeah.
Because then you're thinking, you know, do they want to flirt around with relegation again? Do they bring some more reinforcements? And there's someone coming in your position, and this will push you further out.
I might not have played.
So was the Reading game at the new ground, or
the new ground?
Majeski,
yeah. And it was like he told me like the night before, and you were playing. I'm like, a bit nervous.
Yeah. Sleep much?
Do you know what I did? I drank too much water. It's mad. I thought to myself, you've got to hydrate. Overhydrate myself, and like my muscles started cramping up after about 66, 70 minutes because I drank too much, and like the nervous energy. Yeah. But I had a decent game.
Stanford full game too.
You know, I cramped up. My injury, I cramped up after 70 minutes. But I think it was the nerves. I think I drank too much water and just like playing. I wasn't fit enough. I think.
No.
It was just the occasion, but I played well. It wasn't like it getting dragged off. I think I was like, I'm that. You know when they give him this stretch on floor?
Yeah, it's not going away.
No. So,
19-year-old.
It was embarrassing. I think I had to go at someone of a week for doing that. You're 19. What are you getting a stretch for? It was Forrester.
June Forrester.
And then who came on? One of my mates who I'd played with from Bessie. So my opening. I don't remember Darius Henderson, who played for Sheffield United. But I grew up with him. He was a year above me at school. Went to school with him. Played at Bessie Boys with him, my local team.
Yeah, I always thought he was a Southerner because he was at Watford.
Well, he was from down south originally. Came up to live in Rosso. Came from Rosso, and then played at Bessie with us. And he went to school with him. But he was naughty. He used to like get people in like arm locks, and he used to do all like the jiu-jitsu and all that. And he used to know, I'll break your fucking arm. And I went, oh, Daz. And I came on, he went, I'm going to fucking do it. But he's one of them where, when we were at Donny Boys, we used to travel on coach. He's one of them because I knew him. He used to, like, get me on back at bus and, like, try and, like, get me in headlocks and do it. But anyone else did anything, he, like, proper protected me. And I'm, like, playing against him. I'm thinking, oh, fucking hell, he's going to do me here. But it was good.
Yeah. That's where it went off.
yeah. Don't want to exact one from Daz. Done. Yeah, but it was good. Like just the crowd. I think there were 23,000 there at the time, and they need to win to get in playoffs. I think they were like second, third at the time. It was funny. We played Hallam at their place a couple of years ago, and they all started, like they were giving a bit of banter. We were playing quite well against them at Rosso, and they're going, what's it like to play in front of a crowd? And I never do this, but I thought, I'm going to have a nibble. And then I went, crowd? Say a crowd? It's not 30,000 in championship. Give it big one. Yeah. And I thought, I haven't said that. And they all started, to be fair, it was good. They took it brilliant. And ever since we've had that little bit of banter, they went, it wasn't 30,000, it was 23,000. You always had a little bit on, don't you? And then they were laughing, and it were all right. They were like,
some way to make your debut with that, though, because it could have been 1,500.
Yeah.
To be a Crawley or a Stevens.
Yeah.
But to make it 23,000, a team pushing for promotion, names who's just said you're up against for the game and stuff like that.
It was good.
And remember the score?
2-1. We lost 2-1. We did all right. We played quite well. We did lost 2-1. So I can't remember who scored for him. It is on. I've seen someone put it on. Do you like Grimsby Town? I follow the thing. They put it on there like on this day in 2003, and I'm like, I remember seeing it. I remember that.
So it was 2003.
It 2003, 2003. So I think it was just before or just after my 20th birthday. So like 19, 20 around.
Does it feel like 22 years ago? Or does it feel like yesterday?
No. It feels like yesterday. And I said to obviously. Jumping forward, I said to the lads at the end of the season, like of a week, I said, boys, you cannot waste seasons because it goes like I said, I've had 27 or whatever since being sitting, and it feels like it yesterday. And they go, and you can. I've had seasons where I've meandered through the season, you just mid-set and pondered through it, and you regret them. You look back and think, I should have just give it a bit more. So it does. It feels like it was yesterday.
It's like games, isn't it? Cup games, cup semi-finals, cup finals. Don't give them up because
You never know
when it's going to come again.
You never know.
So new deal then at the end of that season?
Yeah, so I said a 1-year deal on hardly any money, but I had what was good. It was the appearance money. So for being on the bench, you used to get money. So I got on the bench a few times, got me money, and that was decent. But then they got me an all right, still not massive, but an improvement. Did I sign a 2-year deal or a 1-year deal? I think I signed another 1-year deal. So I signed another 1-year deal.
Improved terms, but like dramatic.
No dramatic. It was at the time, obviously, it's 20 odd years, 22 years ago. It was decent, but it wasn't like, no. And I was still a young lad. I'd still not proved myself.
Still living at home?
Still living at home. Yeah. Still living at home. I think I'd met, when I'd been with my missus, so I was kind of like flitting between home and her house. She had an house, so I was like flitting between there. And signed a 1-year deal, and Grosy said, look, next season, I think, like you said, going down probably helps. And I've gone from, you got from squad number 25 to 16. Yeah. I think, little things like that. Yeah. You think, maybe I'm a bit closer to it. I am closer to it. I know I am.
A couple of lads moved on.
Yeah, a couple of lads moved on. Like we had George Santos, centre half, who at United, he left. I played that, so I made my debut with me and him at George. Steve Chatterloo at Forest, he moved on. There were 2 centre halves who'd gone. I think there was a lad called Ford. He moved on, so the centre halves that were actually there wasn't many left. No. They did bring others in. Yeah. They brought Crane in actually. Yeah. Remember Tony Crane, who I played with at Wednesday. Yeah. He was a Scouse that moved over to Sheffield when he came about 14. And I played with him at Wednesday. Yeah. Big old unit, Crane. And then so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to get my head down here and I'm going to have a right off season. I was out running every day, swimming. I got back to pre-season and I was the fittest I've ever been. And I've always been fit, but I was at the actual front of the running, beating all the midfielders. Yeah. And it just felt fit as hell. And I thought, do you know what? I need to smash this season. And it started off all right. We went on pre-season tour to Ibiza. Can you imagine that? Wow. Can you imagine the pro teams doing that now? Yeah, we're it's middle of San Antonio. There's a little temptation for you, lads.
These are all that work with close season.
You're doing close, you're running on beach, and then lads don't go out. And a few lads are looking at each other going, are we in? Can we sneak out?
What floor are we on here? Trying to get our drain pipe.
Are we all in? Are we doing it? They did actually, yeah. But he ran us the next day up the bloody hills. But that's part, had like all night in Ibiza, and then the afternoon. I remember Craney. I don't think Craney made it. I think he was struggling. Yeah. But I felt fit that season, and ended up having playing quite a few games. But then Groves, he left, the manager, so he got sacked, and Nicky Law came in. So there was a period where there was like an interim manager, the assistant manager stepped up. I was on the bench a little bit for him, but then Nicky Law came in, and actually he gave me a right chance, Nicky, to be fair. And I had him later on down at Alfreton, but he threw me in, and I did really, really well. I was playing like most weeks for him. Yeah. And then playing away at Chesney, just dislocating shut. Chief Wayne Allison played that game actually. Went in for a tackle. My hand got caught in grass and pulled my shoulder out. And he'd come on, it's like, dislocated bump. Yeah. Put it back in, just strapped it up, second half, went up for it, head away, and it just popped and it went. I was done, and I missed all that all the rest of that season, apart from I came back for the last game of the season at Tranmere, and he played me at the last game, and then I had to go and have me up in summer. Yeah. So it kind of set me back. But Nicky Law left, and then Russell Slade came in.
So Russell Slade in and around it.
Yeah. We didn't get on. Do you know, like you get managers? So I had Nicky, who was quite good for me. Groves, he was good. And to be honest with you, I probably didn't play as well either. I think I missed that summer with my shoulder, like I said before. Playing catch up. So the opposite to the season before, where I'd hit the ground running, I'd missed all the off season, so I couldn't do the running. So I'm coming back doing my plodding, and then everyone else is running. I'm mad, and then you're just off it.
That must have been a bit demoralising with your injury then after you'd worked on the top to get yourself.
It had.
Something like thinking, I'm a very good go at this, get another contract, or even get a move.
Yeah, that's what. Well, at the time, and if you find out there's people looking at you. Yeah. I was in like, I thought, I can't remember, Shoot magazine, but it was like top up and coming championship players.
Who's the best looking?
And
best looking Shoot magazine.
Shoot. So I did that, and it were in. Do you know what? I did a bit of modelling later on. Do you know what lads like? I didn't tell it. This was later on, and when I went to Alty part time, and I did, and I'm going down to London. And I'm not telling lads. Absolutely, I mean, later on it came out these pictures, and they were like putting him up and partnering me and that. That's brilliant. I did one where I'm like in my little spudgy smugglers in this like magazine, and I turned up. I don't know. I'm going to say it. Sorry. Shall I? I'm going to say it. So I was right. Do this job. Do it. Do this modelling thing. Right. Okay. I sit down in this like reception area. I look round and there's the magazines on. Look at this magazine. Look, it was a bloody game magazine. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm going to get absolutely at football. And again, at the time, obviously, I thought, sod it, I'll do it. It wasn't bad. It was the fashion section, but it were in. I told the lads, I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. But at the time,
We knew you would have.
I know.
I mean, you would have some modelling stuff.
I know. I did a bit of modelling. Yeah. But do you know what I used to say to centre forward? So I said to you about being aggressive and played rugby and used to get cut all the time. I used to say, and I don't have to say it now, but I used to say, don't be deceived by these good looks. I'm going to smash you. I'm going to smash the back of your head.
Are we rocking curtains as well?
Oh my God, I've had some bad haircuts. Yeah. If you look back at some photos I had, I used to have the hair. I used to think I was like Italian, like centre. I think I did got a move once. I had the headband at one point. Nesta, I used to have the
little
Pires.
Thing.
I couldn't grow a proper beard. I still can't. So I thought I need something to I had the Pires. Oh my God! And diamond earrings and that. What a fan! You'd look at me and think, what a fan!
You know what I'm searching to?
Yeah. There's some bad ones.
Get ready for well presented. Yeah. Publicising this. Yeah. That photo might make an appearance.
There is some bad ones.
So, has you been offered another contract then with your shoulder at Grimsby?
Yeah, so because I'd had that really good season, they gave me a 2-year contract this time. So I'd said 1 year, and then they gave me a 2-year contract on pretty good money. Because at that point I was playing. I was like a key player to the team, doing really, really well. And like I said, there was people sniffing around, so they gave me a 2-year contract. That was before Slade came in.
Right.
So I'd already signed it, and then Slade came in.
Damn. Mind you.
But
contract.
That's what it is. And I would play, and do you know what? He did play me a couple of times, but I didn't play that well pre-season. It was back end of pre-season when I came back. I was playing catch up a little bit. I don't think we had a little bit because he was United's youth team manager, Sheffield United's youth team manager when I were at Wednesday.
So you cross paths at
I remember Dean Cropper scoring a goal last minute, and we were, the hatred between Wednesday and United. We had it as a Wednesday eye, so I think we'd cross paths a little bit, and I was captain, a bit gobby, so I think we'd kind of maybe, and it probably. And I say to people, never like burn bridges to people now. And maybe burnt a bridge there and learned. Went on loan and had my first dip into non-league. Yeah. So I went.
Well, they'd have been League One then.
They were League One then. Oh no, yeah. So League One was when that one, and then League Two because we got relegated that season.
Sort of a bum bum.
Sort of bum bums come from
Championship League Two. When you do play against United and stuff.
Yeah.
So they've had 2 relegations.
We had 2 relegations. Slade came in and tried to get them back on the foot, and they did. We had a decent season, and then this next season, I think by the time I'd left, they pushed again and just missed out on.
So you dropped into non-league with.
The first game was Northwich Victoria on loan.
Oh, Northwich.
It was Steve Burr was manager, and I went on loan. And we were playing. He was Steve Burr, with class. I absolutely loved him.
What he spot? He did.
Honestly, brilliant. He'd look after you. He'd do it. He knew football. He was a football man.
Are they full time?
No, not at this point. Oh, they were like a hybrid. Yeah. They were doing like Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursdays. Right. So I was training sometimes at Grimsby, sometimes there, and then playing them. I think my first game in non-league was away at Woking for them in conference. I think we won 2. They were at that time. They were near the bottom of the league. Yeah. He'd just come in as manager and was getting new signs in. I had just went and did really, really well for him.
Well, they still playing at their own ground, so they had some spells away from.
No, my first spell, because I had another spell there. They were at Whitton. They played at Whitton Albion.
That's right.
Yeah. And they played there, and I remember playing Burton Albion there a couple of times.
I remember they played at Whitton. Yeah.
And then did well. And then from that, I had 18 months left on my contract at Grimsby, and then I had, they wanted to buy me, wanted to pay for me and sign me. I was probably going to do it, because I thought I'm enjoying it and playing well. And then last minute, Halifax came in, and Wilder were manager, and he said, obviously I'd been doing well. And at the time, I'm closer to home, Northwich was a bit of a trek. Absolutely. I knew quite a few at lads. There were Lewis Colleen, who had been at Sheffield United, who I knew. Adam Quinn was there, he was my centre-half partner when I were at Wednesday. There were a few others as well. Darren Mansram, who was at Grimsby, were there. I thought, I've got to go. And decided to go Halifax and I signed. I was going to sign, and then I remember when I went to Grimsby and they went, "You've got 18 months left on your contract, haven't you?" And at this point, I went a bit naive. He went, "Have you got a pay up?" I went, "Oh no, I've not. I didn't know you could get one." He went, "Get a pay up. Get a pay up. Have you asked to leave?" I went, "No." He says, "Get a pay up and trying to go." So I went, "Oh, I'm not going. I'm a pay up." And now you're not going then. And I'm like, "Oh shit." Shit. But they did. They ended up sorting it. It wasn't much, but I got a little bit of pay up. Went to Halifax, and it was the back end of the season when they were kind of close to playoffs. We were conference. Yeah. I remember playing away at Carlisle and we lost 1-0, and it were on Sky. One of those goals where the ball went through to keeper, and I think he picked it up, and then he blew his whistle, and he thought that he blew his whistle for free kick, so the keeper walked out of his goal, and he then went, "Shh, no, that's a free kick. I didn't blow my whistle." So the end of the keeper ended up giving it back to their guy. The guy then just tapped it in and scored, and we lost 1-0, and that boshed our playoffs out.
Chaser wanted in there then, would it?
No. It were, I tell you, Sean McCauley were assistant manager at that point. Chris Weil were manager, and then I think Carlisle got into playoffs at that point, and then they won the league and they ended up getting promoted. But then the next season we had a really good go at it, and we had one of the best years I've had.
What were you like under Wilder?
I liked him. We had this discussion the other day, didn't we? He were like, his mood like this. So one minute he was like joking around with lads, you like having banter with lads. The next minute, if you'd had a bit of a bad result, if you had a bit of a bad mood, you knew about it. You were like, "Ooh,
reckon it sounds like that."
Yeah. To a point where I know we discussed it the other day.
Yeah.
4:45 Saturday. If you've got done, break your all in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Plans are gone.
Yeah.
You'd all get there, and he's not there.
He used to get He used to get steaming on back at honestly on away trips. So you regularly be in London. A lot of teams, wouldn't you, down there? Woking, Aldershot, all them. You'd be down there, and he used to create some beer, and he encouraged it. And like, he used to come down bus with his suit on. He's had like a bottle of wine up front and go, "Who down it then?" And he used to like grab the lads, get them in an headlock, and start like wrestling with them. A right good team. And we had there were me, there were Quinny, we had Peter Afton, who were the experienced one, who obviously we had watched it Wednesday. We like us at the back, Martin Foster, who's been about Fozzie, he were in midfield captain.
Were you in cat school with you?
Sometimes, yeah. We used to mix the school. We had 2 schools coming from Donny Chef.
We've had a few ones talked about Fozzie's car schools, haven't we?
Dom. I mean, I played with Dom. We had a right car school with Dom as well at Gainsborough later on. I might get onto it, but yeah, we had Fozzie. It was funny.
I think Fozzie asked him like something like that. Do you like doggy or something? It's his first icebreaker, and he said, Yeah. Oh, he said, yeah, you'll do for me.
He's brilliant, Fozzie. But he was like captain. We had like 24, 23-year-olds, and then he were a bit slightly older. Tyrone Thompson, midfielder, who'd been at Sheffield United. We had Danny Forrest, who's faculty manager. He played. Lewis Colleen. We had this young team, and Stephen Aslam, who'd been at Wednesday. And we did really well. We just one of those back end of the season, we were winning 2-1, 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, and we just felt like you couldn't get beat. And we played Grays at the time when they were paying dough. They had Aaron McLean, they had Kitely, who went to Wolves. They had a right good team. They were favourites.
Michael Kitely
playing conference. Took prep.
Frightening.
Ridiculous.
They were. I mean,
what happened now, would it?
No. And they had a right team. They were favourites to go up, and we played them at the Shea, and we were 3-0 up within like half an hour. I think Fozzie didn't score that one. He may have done. We were 3-0 up, and then they scored 2 late on, and they're going, thought they'd done enough because they got it back to 3-2. That's it now. Take them back to ours. We'll do them. And it was live on Sky. We went to their place. I think they scored to make it 3 apiece, and then Fozzie scored an absolute whirl with right foot volley, boom, scored a right goal. And then did they score again? I think they scored again. And then Lewis Clean went through, the lad took him out, and Fozzie had a pen, cool as you like, boom, 2-2. We drew 2-2, obviously went through on aggregate to final, and then it was meant to be at Wembley that final that year. It was when Wembley was kind of getting refurbished, and it was meant to be the first year. We're like, Wembley, but it was ended up being at Leicester. We played Leicester. We played Hereford in final, and that's one regret. One game you could play again and do again. Like wish you won that one because you're getting back into the league. You know your money's probably going to go.
They're still well supported, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And we had a good team. We had it was the spirit of that team. We had young lads or youngish lads at the time who had it was good. Like we said, car schools coming in.
Just good career and just all mucking together.
And then we ended up
talked about, haven't we, like our good squads and togetherness.
It had points, and I think it did that season, and we just couldn't quite get over the line. Finally, we were 1-0 up. They scored 2-1, and then 1-0. Then we went 2-1 up, and it was about 10 minutes left. But at this point, I dislocated, so my shoulder went again. My shoulder came out in the final, just completely came out. I went off. We were playing left wing back. Matt Doherty went off, so we lost our complete left side. And ended up playing Stevie Bushell, who was like an old dog like midfield dog at left back, and they scored 2 crosses. One cross went in, went to extra time, and then we ended up losing extra time like 3-2. It's like, but then we went Magaluf the next day, and you're like trying to forget about it. But again, I'd done my shoulder, had to have the op through the summer, and then next season again, I just chasing it.
What age are you there?
23, 24. 23, 24. So I did my shoulder, chasing it, put me back in the team after a bit, tore my hamstring, out for 8 weeks. Come back from my hamstring, did my ACL within 2 games.
Oh my God.
So I had so from having that playoff final, having a right good season, so having 18 months with playing 3 games through injury. And it was like, it was hard getting back to that.
Has it always been a weak spot in your shoulder?
This one was, but I've not touched wood since I had the second op, which was like 24. I've not had anything with it. I had the first stop and it kind of like did it, and then the second time I was like lifting weights and it popped back out, and then it weakened it, and then it came out in the fight, kept coming out.
That's what you get when you're doing 10 kilos.
And well, that was the thing. That was the thing. I got this was like later on down the line when I was at York. I got into because I'm not naturally mass big, and I was like, I want to be that. I was lifting too much. I thought, I want to be a big. But actually, it killed my game.
Did it?
Yeah, it killed. And it wasn't until I looked back afterwards I thought, that period where I was at York and Alfreton, I probably wasn't the best because I was just like this. I was just like a big stick, and I'm not want my game. Like I say, I was quick in behind.
Yeah.
And I was like getting tired in games. I'm thinking, why am I getting tired? Why am I lost that 5-yard agility, young quick strikers round me, and I'm
can't shift.
Yeah. And then when I stopped doing it, or stopped just lifting big heavy weights, I'd kind of. Yeah. I got back to me. I was like, "Oh my god, I've just wasted like 2 months there." Just
did you feel better for it?
No, I felt all right on the beach, and it's like that.
So from Halifax then?
Halifax, Alty. So that was the first time I'd gone part time. So Halifax was all full time. Alty were in the conference. I absolutely loved it there.
Did you?
I loved it.
Another great surface.
Loved it. Oh yeah, brilliant. It were Graham Heathcote manager, Mank. It were like us against the world. All these big. It were like these are the big boys in the conference. So you had like Wrexham. Yeah, I think Wrexham were in. You had Luton. You had all them teams. Grimsby at some point. It was like these are the ex-foot. We're Alty. We're part time. We're proud. And it were like us against them. And we made it into that. And they were like team full of Manx, Scousers, and then they were like the Yorkshire Massive that used to like go over and cause carnage. Me, Chrissy Senior, and Nicky Clee, who's now playing he plays at Golka. We were like Yorkshire Massive coming in and like destroying all Manx and Scousers, holding our own with them and trying to. It was good, and I loved it, and it really good. And I probably played some of the best football there. You know, like just I'd gone in and I felt like I was one of the key players, one of the best players. Yeah. You know, and you feel like that, and you're going into games.
Yeah.
And it went really well. And playing. Do you know what? At that point, probably out going part time a little bit.
What were you doing work wise then?
Well, actually, I didn't have a job because I went to uni. I started going to uni. I thought I need to go to uni. So I was getting. To be fair, my wage was decent. It was a good part time wage, so I had enough to do part time and go to uni, so it helped me pay for that. So I did 2 years there.
Probably getting realisation injuries.
I think's what it was.
You can't keep one forever.
You can't. I was 26, maybe 26, 27. I thought I'm not going to go forever.
No.
And I'm not. Fairly intelligent. I'd done all right at school. I thought, what am I going to do? I'll do a degree. I actually didn't want to be a teacher at this point. I thought I'll do my sports science degree and maybe go into like the sports science side of football.
Yeah.
Which actually I got. Later on, I did get offered a job at Sheffield United in their academy doing that, but unless you're like at the top, the money's not that great. And I was at that point, I was like, do I really want to jump around contract to contract? Manager comes in, gets sacked. I need a more stable job. But we had a right team, and we had me, Chrissy Senior, we had Colin Little, who was a striker, and we probably punched above our weight. We were like finishing mid-table in the conference when the budget was obviously a bit smaller. We were part-time. The majority of teams were full-time.
I was about to say, what the majority full-time?
It wasn't probably as much as it is. I mean, pretty much all of them are now.
Yeah. It's a bit lower than that as well.
Yeah, even lower than that.
I think Conference North, Conference South.
It is,
It's full-time, isn't it?
It's mad, and I think.
What would you have said about 75%? Would it be?
Yeah, 75% probably.
So you ought to be looking really like on budget and like.
Yeah.
Togetherness in terms of your training. You'd have been saying bottom 6 or 7.
Yeah, bottom 6, 7. Yeah, and we had a season where they applied to get into league because we were like, close to the playoffs, and then once we did that, we kind of drifted up a little bit. Like, when the manager went, you shit house, you've shit your pants. Like we said we're going to league, and we dipped off a little bit. We didn't shit it. We just weren't quite at the level of some of them, but we had some really good performances. We did some good results. Going to Wrexham and winning, going to Grimsby winning, going to Oxford were in the league at the time, going there.
Some massive clubs.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. And it was good, and I was playing well, and I had a bit of interest again, and that's when York kind of got interested. They were in the conference as well, and I remember him saying to me, I had a good game there, but I gave away a penalty last minute though. I had a right good game, and then Brody, I've forgotten his first name, Brode striker.
Richard
Brody.
Yeah.
He's manager now at
Fleetwood and that.
Yeah. He died for
Skelmersdale
or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have him.
I played against him when he was Skelmersdale, so he might still be there.
He might be. I didn't have him down as a manager though. Yeah. He was nuts. Yeah. He was absolutely nuts. Me and him sometimes used to root together. I think, oh, bro, I can't cope with you. Yeah. I can't cope with you. But I remember other week I saw Ross Turner, who was at Alfreton. He went, "Young, he says, I cannot believe you're manager." I said, "Why not?" He says, well, you were a leader, but you were an idiot. You're an absolute clown. But I used to be. Yeah. And I can't. I used to. Do you know, like in dressing room, I just love the banter. But I was never like quick-witted or like you're quite-witted, aren't you? I would never that. I just do stupid things just to try and get a laugh. You go and do that, like eat a worm and eating a worm. Do you know, like I played with Roma, and like the strikers come on. I just thought. I just pissed myself on pitch. Just do you know what I mean? I'm like, what? Strikers going like that, and yeah, just stupid things.
And then he's like, worm out at pitch.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's like, didn't have you down as it? And I'm like, I'm a teacher. What are you teaching? They've let you in charge of like, this is, yeah, they have, yeah. But I mean, yeah, so I calmed down a little bit.
Do you know what though, 20s?
I know, that's what it is, your 20s.
It was. Like a night out.
Yeah.
Keep
going. Keep
going. It just depends where you are.
It's only 2 weeks when we come back from Benidorm.
Went to your...
Back full time?
Yeah, back full time. It was full time. I fancied another go at it.
What? So you do your university course and you're thinking,
I know. Well, this is where I got... So United offered me like a job to go and be like their youth team sports. It wasn't great money. Yeah. And I could have stayed at Altley. They wanted to keep me. They wanted to put me on a 2-year contract. Say, come on, we'll give you like a 5-year. We'll give you like a testimonial to stay.
Would it have been similar money then? If you'd have done the Altley and
possibly similar money,
but it would have been a lot more hard graft, wouldn't it? Like,
it was the lifestyle.
Would you be able to make games and stuff? You know, your Altley games.
That's the problem.
I don't, because I've worked in it full time.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
No.
I don't think at that level.
No. Yeah.
North East Counties.
No. Yeah.
Probably make it work, but at conference level.
Yeah.
Like I said, good and bad. It's all
going down there.
Walking. What was one on the East Coast?
Eastleigh.
And what gaffer are you on?
It was. Oh my God, what's his name? He didn't last long. He got Port Vale manager. I can't remember his name.
Aspin,
no.
Mills
came in. Mills was the manager that came in. What was his name? Oh my God, I can't remember. It's been that long ago. He didn't last long, and then Port. There was an assistant manager called Port at Ports. He was going to potentially get the job, and there were a few lads that didn't like him. And he said, and he'd done all right as interim. He said, if when I win today, I'm getting a job. Yeah. A few lads, I think, threw it in a little bit, unfortunately. And I wanted him to get it because he was playing me and doing well. I was gutted when he left, and then Millsy came in. Yeah. He was good. To be fair, I got he didn't play me as much as I would have liked. I kind of he was like not sure, put someone else in. And to be fair, I probably didn't play my best at York. I said this was the point where I started doing the weights. I got a bit, and I wasn't as good as I could have been. And I dipped a little bit, and he came in and brought up, and I was like, oh, I want to leave. Altley wanted me back. I think I went back on loan actually at Altley towards the end of the season. Went to play for them. Darlow came in for me when they were up there, when they got it, and he blocked it. He said, no, you're not going. I wanted to go. He says, no, I need you for bench. I'll sit on bench and play in the odd game.
What bad sentence.
Yeah, I know, I need you.
For bench.
And I'm like, yeah.
Can't
wait. Sit and travel, but you're travelling and you're like, oh, I should be playing. I could be playing. Darlow got to the trophy final that year. And I couldn't. So like,
is that when Chrissy
scored?
Winner, didn't he?
Yeah, and I knew him, and then I knew another couple of lads there, and I wanted to go, and I was like, no. But in the end, it probably was a good thing because Darlow actually went bust, didn't he? So it might have been a good thing. So I left in the end of the season. I knew I wasn't going to get another year with Millsy. I didn't want to because I wasn't playing. In May of I'm going, and that's when Nicky Law was now Alfreton, just got promoted into conference. So I'm like staying in conference. I know him, he's played me loads in league, he made me captain, all right money. They'd gone from semi-pro to footy, it was like a hybrid again, Mondays, Tuesdays, so I was still playing footy, and I went there and went there with Nicky Law, which is, you know, I mean, he loved me at Grimsby, and we had our fallouts at Alfreton.
Right. Okay.
A few, you know. I mean, you know what he's like. Fucking hell, come fucking Eddie, Youngie, what are you doing? Kick it back. And we were doing all right. We were towards the bottom, but it was the first season in there, and I think his expectation was a little bit higher, and the squad wasn't probably it was where it was at. I mean, we stayed in the league and we did all right.
What was some lads in that Alfreton side?
We had Clates up front, and Paul Clayton, funny kid, him, absolutely brilliant.
Tell you a good story about Clates.
Yeah.
I played with Clates
Yeah.
in County Senior.
Yeah.
He were with me at Durn Swinton.
Yeah.
And he was like, for that level, ridiculous.
Yeah.
But he didn't really realise how good he was.
Yeah.
Because he went from there to Alfreton. Where is he? 3 o'clock kickoff. 10 to 3 now. Anyway, he comes walking up driveway out fishing gear on. He'd been night fishing. And he got waders on.
Yeah.
Tackling all up on the thing. Maggot's still live in bag and that, and he comes walking to changing rooms.
Yeah.
Have you any sleep? Clates? No. I've been out night fishing all day. I'm absolutely knackered. So manager, you were that indispensable. They were like, were you playing?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no problem, like. 5 minutes and I think I've told you what story. Keeper comes out, takes it round keeper, leaves ball on line, lies down, just heads it in offline and walks back to the centre circle, just like proper took place.
Yeah.
It was like ridiculous. And then I weren't surprised, like, but he was like, obviously he'd come from like golf and that, but he was a likeable kid.
He was, yeah. That was a bit of an issue because he'd gone to like full time-ish, and Clates, he didn't get it.
No.
He'd gone from that, and you had him, and then you had Ant Wilson, who was an absolute nutcase as well. I play with, and they weren't like. And we're turning up Monday morning. It got to the point where Nicky Law, so
Anton would he either come from Belper or before he went to Belper?
I think it was before. I think he'd come from Belper. I think. Yeah. And he was I remember seeing him at Stockport, and he's got his. I always say to him when he's having a good game, his sleeves used to roll higher and higher. And like talking about that, he used to go boom, boom, boom. Yeah. But he's another one who's a bit of a nutter. But we had them two up front. We had a few others. We had Jarmo, Nathan Jarman up front. Yeah. Matt Wilson was.
Well, Flinty there at the time.
Flint. So I replaced Flinty.
Okay.
Poor replacement at the time, and he went on a right career. So he did all right, didn't he?
Still doing all right.
He is. He is. So I kind of came in and played there. We had Anton. I can't remember his
Foster.
Yeah. We had Connor Franklin at left back, who was decent. Theo Street in midfield, who played.
Good lads.
We had some good lads, and we had a good lad who not bad. But then he'd gone for
it up on your way to Alfreton.
Well, yeah, he couldn't drive, did he?
No.
He used to have to drop him off, and and the thing with Nicky Law, I've got from 55 years. That's good. I'm sticking in top bin, lads. Really hard, wasn't it? But I've come from pro a little bit, and he's come from, and he's like doing, and like, come on, Clay, you need to do walk.
Completely different,
And on Monday mornings, him and Ant had been on Pillball Day Sunday. He didn't turn up on a Monday. Nicky Law, at this point, he wasn't a coach. He wasn't a coach. He had who was assistant manager? He went to guys like Russ. Russ was a decent coach, but he didn't do the full time. He had a decent job. I think to join or something. So he didn't do that. So Nicky used to do the training, but he couldn't do it. If I'm honest, he wasn't a coach. I remember beginning and the end with me after I signed a 2-year contract was. We played Gateshead away, and it's like a big open thing in it, athletics, and we were under the cosh a little bit. We were under a bit of and it was 0-0.
Such a lifeless place.
It is.
There'll be 700-800 in that stand.
Yeah,
and you could hit a pin.
But this is the point. So Nicky Law's outside. Youngie, fucking tell him. He's panicking because he can see there on top. He's going, and I was captain. Tell him at left back. Tell him to come out. Tell him what's going on. And I've just gone, fucking, is he fucking. Youngie, fire! And I've just gone, will you fuck off? And that was the worst thing I could have done. So he's gone, yeah, well, this is what he wanted to do. He went, Russ, get him off. I didn't know this at the time, lads have told me.
Were you a skipper?
A skipper.
Yeah, but we're just going everything through.
Everything fine. I'm losing me out, and we're under. I'm just like, fuck off. So he's gone, get him off, and Russ has gone, you can't, it's 0-0. He's who are we going to put on? Like, you're not, like, don't put him on. So he didn't sub me. But after the game, you can imagine, he tore me a new arsehole in the changing room, went mad. I went up to apologise. I went, look, Gaffer, I'm sorry. He went, oh, fuck I can't look at you. And I thought,
oh shit, I've done it proper here.
So that bus journey home, I'm like, sat, and I apologized, and I said, lads, sorry, and all that. And then, but he kept me in. He kept me in for a little bit after that.
Long journey on that, mate.
Yeah, it was. I think and do you know what? He was right. We did lose. It was 1-0. I think they scored like 80th minute, so he saw it coming.
Yeah.
But just one of those things. You shouldn't have done it, and I know I shouldn't have done it. So someone said, and it just, my head went, and I'm just like, it was beginning and the end a little bit because of that.
Yeah.
And then we played a little bit longer. Played a few more games, then we played Fleetwood to near the end of the season. It was when they were top of league. Vardy, Seven up front. They had Jamie Maguire midfield, right team.
Other lad who used to score loads up front with Vardy. So what was his name? Jamie Maguire, but
the Seven scored a few, and then there was. I can't remember. They had Pondy who was there for a while.
Pondy, who were there years, weren't he? Pondy at back. Yeah.
Trying to think. But they'd pissed the league basically. They'd pissed the league, and I remember them doing that. Jeremy Vardy put in his book where they were passing the pound coin round. When they're playing, and whoever had the pound coin at end had to do like the paid the fine and do a massive forfeit. I remember the physio coming on and they're thinking taking piss. But we played 4 at the back. I played left back. We had Adam Quinn, Darren Kempson, 2 big units of centre half, and Lee Franks, who were another centre half. Played 4 centre halves at back. We did okay. They were just better than us. We did okay. We lost 3-1, I think. Vardy didn't score, so I played directly again. He didn't score. But after the game, he went, oh, crap. And the Monday morning, again, we ran us. But it was Doug, the physio, and he was like ex-army. It was ridiculous. Burpees, squats, everything. And you'd have to run around on Saturday.
You'd be chasing vans around.
We played, if you'd have tossed it off, I understood it. If you'd have one of them. But they were just better than us.
Yeah.
And then on Monday morning, it was one of the hardest sessions. We played on the Tuesday here at Donny in a friendly game. So we played like their first team reserves. My hamstring popped because obviously I don't squats and lunges and Saturdays I've done. So I lost my head. I saw the physio at Rovers. I knew him. And he says, no, you're lucky, you're done for the season there. Your hamstring's gone. And it was fatigue from playing and from running. I lost my head. I went to the door. I went, fucking joke. So it's a joke doing all that running just for like, and then he went and told Nicky, and that were it then. Nicky, done. It's, yeah.
What there and then like?
Well, yeah. I'd been in and around. I was injured anyway for the rest of the season.
And what had you got left?
I had a year left on my contract. So he just rang me up in summer and gone, Youngie, that's it, you're done. I said, well, I've got a year left on my contract. I had Alty come back in for me. They got relegated by this point in Conference North, but they were offering me half the money that was on. And he wanted just to get me to go. I said, I'm not going half the money and travelling 2.5 hours to Alty. I said, I'll stay. He went, well, you're not going to play pre-season. You're not going to. I went, oh, go on now. I'll challenge my place. He went, no, you're not. I went, well, I'll come in and train. Just I thought I'll play a long game with him, and then Gainsborough came in, and it was when Swanee were chairman, and he was like, part time. Gainsborough's half a minute down the road. I thought, go on then, I'll have a bit of that then. And I thought, do you know what? It's round the corner, but I still thought. I said to Nicola, I'm not going. Just I thought, he went, no, you're not going. I thought, well, I've got a year left on my contract, see if I can get a little bit out of him and stuff. I got a bit again, but not a massive amount, but it didn't really matter because I thought, you know what? And at this point, I'd done my degree, I'd finished it, I was 31 maybe, 30, 31. I thought, you know what, I enjoyed part-time at all, I'm going to go back part-time, close to home, earning good money, and that were it then from part-time, and we had a right good season. First season at Gainsborough, I think was Dom there before me. I think he might have been. But we had a right good car school. There were me, Dom, Craig Nelthorpe, who were absolute nuts. We had Jamie Yates, and Luke Waterfall, who had a right good career.
Brilliant career.
I mean, it used to love just getting in car, like with lads. And
do you know what though, Young, like it's. That's what you get with non-league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Because you're only single, you've all had a tough week.
Yeah.
So I think you all just jump in that car Saturday, take piss out to each other. It's your relaxation time, it's your fun time, isn't it?
It is. We used to ring lads up. I used to put on accents and ring people and say, I'm from John from the non-union people. And used to get tell us you used to do team, what's your best team?
Yeah.
Go through, and then at the end then I got out Wilson once. I pretended to be him from Fleet, the Scottish guy from Fleetwood. I've heard you're playing really well, son. What are you doing? Like, you're going to sign? And he was like, yeah. Like, absolutely had him. And then, like, we used to do stuff like that. Nelly used to just be nuts.
Yeah.
Absolute crackers driving. I remember once he went, I'm just going to drive as quick as I can. And he went down the back roads near, like, Maltby and that. And he just, me and Yates are going, please, I've got a family. Nelly, slow down. He's just going, laughing to himself. Nelly, please, I've got a family. Yeah. I thought he were going to kill us. He's once they're like someone walking past, and he's like got someone. He's put the like hood over him and like strangled him. He's going, help me, I'm getting and then drove off. And this guy's going, shit, like gone to ring police and stuff because he thought he were being kidnapped and stuff. He were crackers, Nelly, but what a lad. Yeah. He used to like buzz off, and we did quite well that season. We did all right.
Where did you finish?
We finished just outside the playoffs. Yeah. The season before, they'd lost in the final.
Running
trophy. We played Wrexham, and we were that close. We played over 2 legs.
Yes,
we did all right,
and then told us this, didn't it?
And then we stopped over there, did it, and then I think it was only by a goal. I think we got a late goal to maybe put it really tight. And you think you're that close to Wembley.
Yes.
And it was good. Yeah, and we had a right good team. But Terry Oakridge was in there, and he was a talent.
Yeah, very good.
Talent. I remember one game. It was when we just missed out on play. Colwyn Bay were in Conference North at that point, and we needed to win really to get into the playoffs. And half time it was 0-0. Ausch, the manager, funny guy, Ausch. He's gone, lads, right, just keep it tight. Corner, centre kick. Channel, kick it into channel, do it. Anyway, Tez has got it, and the skilled player he was, lost the ball, they've gone and scored from kick-off. Fucking hell. So after the game, Dom won at ones actually, he's hammering Tez. Some lads are hammering. I wasn't, I was just sat, and he's gone, no. And then House went, Tez, I've told you, they're right. And he's kind of like rolled his eyes and, fuck off, no, and give it like, no, I'm not bothered. And he went, we're trying to get in, no, that was it, we're trying to get in the playoffs here, and he went, I'm not bothered, because he knew he was getting a move. That was me then. I just stood up and went for him. Yeah. I was like, fucking yeah, you can't. You know, like trying it, that great. And then the money went, Swanee went to I think me and Dom stayed on a big I took a big cut, and I thought, you know what, I enjoyed it, I'll stay. By this time, I'd obviously working, got into education a bit, so it wasn't, the money wasn't.
Same Mrs. Bumby all the way through your career.
So 20. I think I was 19, 20. Yeah, and been with her since. Yeah, so she knows like.
Which were her favourite haircut?
Which one? I don't know. Select any. Problem is now I'm going bald. I know I'm going bald now, so I'm to cover it up. I thought straightening it. Things killed it.
So then from Gainsborough
to Buxton.
With Martin. Yeah.
And it again. I'd lost the love a little bit that second season at Gainsborough. I was like, I'm 32. First season was good. The second season, I probably wasn't as good myself. We didn't play that well. I was like, I'm not sure. I said, Ausch, I'm gonna leave it. They probably didn't want me anyway. The money I was on.
Had your mindset changed a little bit in terms of priorities? Family-wise, and job.
That's what it was, and I was getting into the edge, and you kind of changed a little bit, and I was a bit like disillusioned with footy a little bit. I'm like, and Buxton was perfect. It just reinvigorated me.
Yeah. They had been Evo stick with you.
Evo stick, so you're dropping down a league, so it went from Conference North to Evo stick Prem. Yeah. But we were still decent standard. We had Martin McIntosh, Tim Ryan as manager and assistant manager, and we had a team full of just cranks, and we had a team spirit. Which
Scott Hartley weren't still in there at that time.
No, we had, who did we have? Jan actually came, but there was another kid. We had a few keepers. We had Aaron Jameson my first year. He was at Wednesday as a young kid. And then we had Jan Butts, and we had like a decent team. Ash Palmer, who I said before, was there. He went on a really good career. Toots went on. What's his first name? Sean. So he was good. Liam Hardy. They were scoring goals for fun that first season. We missed out on the playoffs. Probably 2 seasons where we should have maybe got in. It's like like I think I said to you before, lads going out and turn up on the Saturday, you think who's been out on Friday, who's been out all night. There was a few people with their eyes on air all over.
I think it was a big thing for Buxton at that time, Macintosh getting a job, weren't he? Like, because he weren't so long out at games.
No, he won't now.
Yeah. He'd been at Worksop, Anti and that, and done well there, and then obviously got Buxton job.
He did.
So,
and he I think he'd been there a year maybe by the time I got
when
there.
you got there.
And done well.
Yeah.
He'd done well, he turned them round
Were
a
you
little
full
bit.
time there?
No.
Macintosh,
No. I think he worked at Thomas Rotherham College as a coach. He was doing coaching and doing there. But Tim was I think it was Tim that got me in rather than Martin. Tim's Donny lad played for Rovers and that. Yeah. He knew of me, so you need to get him in, and came in, and like I say, I was captain there for 5 years pretty much.
How long you were there?
Yeah.
It's a great club.
Yeah, great club. I mean, it's even better now, obviously, I've gone full time and stuff. I'm going at the end of the season, I can't keep doing this. It's a trek.
Yeah. And you will have been what age then if you were 37?
Yeah, about that. Yeah. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I need this. But I'm going to see out the season. Yeah. And I'll go. I was captain at the time and playing.
Did you... Obviously, I've not played at that high level that you have, but like Evo Stick Prem, even at that point, it becomes a time where the travelling just gets a little bit fucking monotonous.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
and especially when you've got a job, and if you're at a high level like a manager in work, and you're sometimes having to work late, and then you text your manager saying, "I can't travel on team coach. I'm going to have to drive up because I'm going to be late at work," and then I'm travelling back from Whitby one time with Stockbridge, and it's like 7:45 in the morning. And we're still an hour away from dropping off, and I'm in work at 6.
30 quid down.
Yeah, and then kids are like, I see you dad all this week because you've been Whitby Tuesday, and then you were at Kings Lynn Saturday, and it's like, I got to a stage where I were a little bit like, people say, no, it's good money though.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking,
but what is it? Yeah.
22 hours at the house this week.
Is it worth it?
You know what I mean? Were you at that stage?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Certainly, it was. I think I could manage the Saturdays and the odd Tuesday when we were training at Donny because we were training around. We were training at Rosso School, and it was brilliant. That were all right. And then the odd Tuesday and I was enjoying it, and I was doing it, and I was enjoying playing. But you're thinking, I'm not sure this is worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is worth it.
It's not easy to run, is it?
It's not, no. And you look like that. Oh, when we got stuck there one Boxing Day, it's like, we need to get home quick.
This is another thing I want to say. Boxing Day and your New Year's Day.
Yeah. You play,
Couldn't really have a good Christmas day.
No,
could
you
with your
couldn't,
family and have a couple of beers and something to eat.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have too much because you're not going to be headed for Boxing Day.
And then New Year's Day, insane.
Why are you not drinking?
Yeah.
And then you get
I'm away at Blythe Spartans.
You get a message at 10 o'clock saying, frozen.
Yeah, off. And you've not, you've wasted the Christmas or New Year. Yeah, that has happened, yeah. So people that you can see chat, are you going to gamble? Are you going to gamble? Is it going to be off tomorrow, lads? Is it going to be off?
Green card.
Green card, yeah. But it transpired that obviously Martin Macintosh had left and he'd been at Ilkeston, but then he got the job at Frickley. And he says, Youngie, will you come and be assistant manager and play a player assistant manager? And it was still our first season. I thought, well, I'm going to leave at end of the season anyway. I'm enjoying it at Buxton. I was still captain. I was still, obviously, the travelling was a bit of a pain. And I thought we were close to playoffs. And I thought, but I thought, no, I've got to go. This opportunity, like you said, Frickley, it was a league below, so it was the South. One of them. Yeah. So there's less travelling. It's Frickley, I'm 20 minutes down the road, and I'm going to be assistant manager, and I'm getting to an age where I'm going to have to stop playing. And I've been saying I've been retiring and get on the coaching side of it. So I went to Frickley and went there and decided to leave Buxton to it. And they did get in playoffs, but they lost in playoffs. But it was the right decision.
We spoke to a lot of people about transition.
Yeah.
Player to manager.
Yeah.
But that step that you took where it's a player assistant manager, and I've done it myself. It's tough.
Yeah,
I think that's a tough gig.
It is.
I think it's not as tough as being a player manager.
No,
but it's still a tough gig when you're having to go and dig people out.
That's what it is, isn't it? And that's like being a manager. I'm like trying to stop playing because of that, but certainly playing because I was. He wanted me to sign. I was at that point. I was a key. I was a key player for him.
You knew you were
going to play, at the same time, you've got to play well. I remember, Stocksbridge. We played Stocksbridge, Boxing Day, and I had an absolute stinker. I had a bad game, and I'm thinking, oh fucking hell, I'm gonna have to go in change rooms here, and you're not had a great game yourself, and that's difficult.
A couple that, like, as a captain, you can go in and start digging. But when you're part of the management setup, you've actually decided on that. Somebody put on what's out there.
I've said a couple of times, I'm the better playing today, and then I've played them for I'm walking off at bloody File that time thinking, we're 2-0 down, and I'm thinking, they're a good side, but I've not been anywhere near it, and I've got to go.
That's
being awful.
You've got to be. I think you've got to be better than average, and this is what I'm thinking. Like me not playing, if you're just average, you want as a manager now or assistant manager, you want in higher standards.
You've got to be top five players.
You want in high standards. You want it, and you're saying, well, I need you to be better. It's not bad, but you need to be better because you want to but you're not doing that. You're not having a stink. If you're having a stink, you're definitely not going to play yourself. Even if you're average, I think it's tough.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. It's really tough.
If somebody had 6 out of 10. You consider whether you're playing them.
Yeah.
If it's yourself, then having 5, 6
like
out of 10,
yeah.
you think,
but am I going to play them or not?
I can influence the game.
Do you know what it were for me? Well, like, when you've been a captain of a team, you're influencing it with your mouth. You're always influencing.
Absolutely.
It. And when you're an assistant manager, you're trying to find a way out of the shit you're in by doing something with tactics. So you stop thinking about performances. And you start thinking about, how can I change this? What square pegs can I put in what round holes here? Because I need to do something. So then your mind wanders away from, I'm actually number 6 here, and I should be playing centre half and marking the striker. And all I'm thinking is, would we be better bringing him off bench, going to a 3? Fucking hell. I'm playing.
Absolutely, And
I just couldn't cope with it.
Probably having that extra water break with manager saying.
But I just couldn't cope with it. I just couldn't cope with the fact that I had 2 responsibilities. I was a player, but I was also like, what can we do to change where this game's going? I just hated it. Whereas like now, you're on the other side of the white line, and there's always going to be times. I like all 3 of us strongly believe this. There's always times you stood over that white line thinking, fucking hell, I'd be better myself. But you've only got that one thing to think about.
You have, And like I said, as a player, I was never the best player, but as a captain, I could influence others on the pitch. Just by, and I think I'd get the better out of other people. I'd like to think, and I think if you got people I played would say, yeah, you raised my game. You made me a better player when I was playing. And I think, so as a manager, as assistant manager, you're trying to do that from the side now, but then you can't, as you're playing and then you're on the side and it's too much.
It's tough, mate. It's tough.
And it's that.
Did he last long?
Argue with ref.
No, oh my God, I love that.
Did he last long there, Martin?
No. So the chairman kind of changed and flipped. So we did all right. The budget again got cut. We did all right, and then he had to sell a few players, and we did okay, and then he left. So then I was like, oh right, I'm done. I'm not staying if he like. I thought about applying for it myself, and I thought, I'm not going to bother at this point. So I
still feel like you had a little bit to offer football, like
still
a few more years.
You did, and I thought I was umming and ahhing. I thought I was 37, what? 37, and I thought, well, I'm not sure, and then. Macca at Mickleover, which were back into the Northern Prem. And I played with Ricky Ravenhill at Buxton. He says, get Youngie, like, he can still do a job. So, like, he's won at Best in League before, like, get him in. So I went to Mickleover and absolutely loved it. John McGrath, who's now Buxton manager, and I played there up to the COVID. And then a captain left.
Ex-pros dropped down like that at that point.
We had Pabs.
Pablo Mills.
Me and Pabs set around.
Play there for a while.
Clint were there. He were like flitting around with it. We had a striker who was unbelievable. Played at Burton. Oh my God, what was his name? It might come to me like. But he were class. So we did have a few ex-pros and young kitten.
Yeah, because Mac were Buxton, weren't
he? He was,
With Clough.
Yes. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Burton, not Buxton.
Yeah. And we had quite a good team. Again, we wasn't the biggest paying team in the league. Expectation was, and Macca did a great job there, and that's why I ended up getting the Buxton job. Really well, and I enjoyed it. And then COVID hit, and then but before that, Macca got the job at Martin McIntosh got the job at Grantham.
Right.
Who then again were paying money. And so he wanted to get me in again, play a coach, play assistant manager. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was umming and ahhing, I'm enjoying it, Mickleover, but...
I would demand at 37, 30.
But this I know. But the thing is, what I thought was, I'm going to transition to coach, where I knew at Mickleover he had Pabs, who was wanting to be a coach. He had Ricky Ravenhill, and I thought he's probably not going to get me limited. Yeah. So I'm probably going to play, and then where if I go to Grantham, I might play the rest of this season and then stop and be coach. So I thought, I think long term that's going to be better. So I decided to go. And I'll play my last game for Mickleover away at Whitby. I said, I'm going to go. He went, I thought you were. And then Tuesday night, I ended up getting sent off, getting an £800 fine and an 8-game ban, and then COVID hit.
What for?
So, do you know what? It was ridiculous. They're like, we were winning 1-0, and their sub came on, throwing up, the lad came in, crunched our lad. And do you know what you do? You go, he sent him off. So I ran over trying to get him sent off. He's turned around and like, what are you doing? He's headbutted me. Me being a bit that, gone like that. And there was a scuffle. He sent the lad off and then came to me, and I thought, I'll take a yellow. I'll take a yellow for like, he's headbutted me. Yeah. I thought, I'll take a yellow. And he just pulled a red card out. I just went, nah. I said, I'm not leaving. I refuse to leave. Like a petulant school kid.
No video like
what? It's on YouTube. You can see it on YouTube. But at the time, I went, I'm not leaving. It's not. He's headbutted me. I said, I'm not. A bit petulant. I'm like, nah. Anyway, I left. About 10 seconds of me being petulant. Walked out, change rooms. I'm still fuming. I've been sent off. I know that I'm going to Grantham. I'm going to be banned when I'm going to Grantham. I'm fuming. It was a lot longer. I'd got a shower, I'd come out the shower, and then I heard the ref come out, and I'd still not got changed. So I came out, I was like, ref, what are you doing? I said, I didn't headbutt him. I had to go at him again. He said that I'd threatened him, I'd done all this, that. I hadn't.
So I just
reported it, said that I threatened him, he was scared to go in the bar. I didn't threaten him at all. I shouted at him, I think.
Yeah, I'd just like to sit ref's report.
Yeah.
This Adonis came out in the changing room and I felt threatened. Yeah.
And then I got this, and it COVID hit, and it's an 8-game, and then you've got an 8-game ban and £800 fine.
Which must have gone on forever then.
Well, yeah, ridiculous. Yeah. It went on forever.
Did you ever go to Grantham then?
Yeah, so it missed the beginning of the season, then it started, then I couldn't play because I had these games.
Then it stopped again.
And it stopped again, and then it just fit, and then Macca left. Yeah. And so it was a short stint. I think I'd got back from my ban, played, and then it cut again. And it left, so I played like 2 games. Played like 2 games, then it cut, and then that was it, and that was COVID, and that's when I was like, right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Macca had left, the club was upside down a little bit, Grantham. And that's when Ben rang at Rozzo.
Which is a nice story, really.
It is,
and I always think,
circle.
Yeah. I always think it's a good story to finish on. Local to Donny, local to club.
Yeah.
And still here now.
Yeah.
And obviously you've had, you've had some good times here, haven't you?
Oh, unbelievable. Some of the best. Do you know, like you talk about, and I said this to the lads in the change room, like, you can play at high league, you can do it, and when I'm trying to sign players, and I'm trying to ask players maybe what, I was reluctant to drop down at first, because I'd always played, I thought, I'm 30, what was I, 39, 40, and I thought, do I need to play, or was going to stop? It was the best thing I did, and I enjoyed it as much as, I've talked about loving Otley, I loved it here as much as anywhere, the change room, the environment, the success we had, the people around that make it, and it was the best thing I did, like signing and doing it, and we like Benson, I've got a project, I just need like someone like you to like be a bit of a leader in the dressing room, and we've got some young players and just be a driver, and if I get you, and then might be able to get another player who's maybe played,
which has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it did, and he said like, I need you to be the catalyst.
And it's had a knock-on effect with like such as, you know, Kingy come in,
Ross come in.
It's been,
and then it came then Greeny, here we had Grayson's come, so we had people who've come in, and he's got the right people in, and Ben was absolutely brilliant, like, and we had that first season, we got to the playoffs, and we were doing quite well, we fancied ourselves, but to be honest with you, there was a little bit of doubt there how good we actually were, and we played Ferriby at the time, where the better team. Hallam won the league. There was all that. We would have that Allen with that Needle with Allen. We were their bogey team. We beat them all the time. Dents like with 8. We'd beat them like 6-2 at their place. But it was Ferriby at their place, and we just weren't ready. We weren't ready. I remember saying in change room, next season, boys, remember this feeling. We've got the group to go again, and we did. And we went in, and it was weird. We played, and that next season we played Harrogate here, who were kind of like second, third, and there was Campion. And we talked about it with Amy and Ross. We said that were a turning point towards the end of the season where we were in the playoffs. They were up there and we battered them here. Turned them over 3, but we wasn't just we bopped them off the park. Yeah. And it was like a moment where you thought, well, it was like you could see people think we're going to get promoted. Yeah. It was like we knew. Yeah. You knew you were going to do it. We knew we were going to get promoted.
Did you get champions?
No, so Campion just beat us. Yeah. But when we played Wakefield here in the semi, I scored one of my only footed goals. I have right foot as well. Wow. Right foot, the ball cross came in and put it in. Running off, rolling back the years.
This picture
I was coming off. I don't think I scored many with my feet, but it was one. We won 1-0. That was probably, and then we played Horbury here, who beat Harrogate.
Yes.
And they were kind of probably Harrogate were probably expected to beat them at the time. And then we turned them over here in the final. It was Grace scored early on, and then we were 2-0 up cruising. Then there were a bit of a mass brawl.
Yeah.
And I think he sent Cody off, but he sent about 3 of their lads off, 4 lads, and they were down to like.
Great, we'll just check in, make sure it worked from.
Yeah, is it him? Yeah. But he said to me, I said, what he said? He says, I'm going to have to send someone there. I'm going to do it. And I was like, oh man. I went over to Ben. I said, he's going to send one of the Cody off, but he's going to send 3 of theirs. He went, I'll take that. but I'd cut my head after, so I'd split my head. So I came off the pitch about 2 seconds later. Terry Butcher with the things on. They scored when off pitch. And it was 2-1, even though they were down to like 8 men or something. It got a bit nervous, like put your thing, and then I think Brad scored again. I think Brad great, and it was just and then the game just.
Was there a decent crowd here for that?
They were like 1,400, I think. Wow. Yeah, so it was good. So I think it was like 1,200. It was good, and then they said, like getting promotion, and this is what I'd said to all the lads. I said, I'm 40-year-old at this point. I think I was. I've had good seasons where I've missed out on promotion. I've never been promoted, and I can't retire without getting a promotion, boy. We need it, and enjoy it. And then we would enjoy this moment because I know some people will have lots of promotions that maybe you've had on, and do you know what I mean?
We've got one game released that won 40 or 50.
Yeah. So it will but enjoy it because it might never happen, boys. And this is
as that group as well.
As a group, and we had a change room. Like I said, we had the experienced players like Kingy who'd been there, myself, Ross.
So you we talked earlier on about spine in the team, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And you've got your centre half who's played league games. Yeah. You've got Kingy who's done excellently in his non-league career, and then gone and won trophy with Ferriby as skipper.
I even remember.
And then you've had Ross who's played programmes. Where else were he at? Ross.
Bradford, Grimsby,
and obviously Sparrow also.
Yeah.
But I can remember, I think played at Athersley. Yeah. At ours. I think you were short earlier on in the season. Yeah. Ben played himself in
we were. Yeah.
He weren't a bad footballer.
No,
because he'd not played for a few years.
No. He had a great little touch of Croydon, and he'd like the little chop and the little skill, and then he didn't play as much, but he could play himself, and then it was good. And then the next season kind of followed on. He got even more play. Although we didn't start great. We got promoted. I think we had people missing. I think I'd gone on holiday. It starts too early. You can't have your teaching. You can't have your holidays. You can only have it
same
way when
you've got kids you can only do it in them bloody times, can't you? It's crazy. So we're the same. We've got lads now who've got kids and teachers and the school for the first 2 or 3 games.
And you think
no wonder people can't get an FA Cup run going.
People. It's other things as well, like shift work.
Yeah.
If you have built-in holidays.
Was your first year?
Yeah, well, we have that.
The first year that Premier, did you get playoffs again?
So we got playoffs again. We started the season a bit slowish. I think he kind of trusted the squad that got promoted, and it would have done okay. But then I think he realised we need to get a couple more in. So we got a couple more in. Jim in goal was unbelievable. I think he's best in the league in that level. We got Mitch in centre half, who was midfielder. We had a few others that came in, and it made that a bit of difference. And again, we were going on a bit of a run. It was like I've said to you before, when we were at Halifax, we got in the playoffs. We were winning 1-0, 2-1 towards the back end of the season. Got the momentum. You just felt like you were going to win, even when you went a goal down. I think you were nicking goals, nicking games last season, and did really well. Went to Emily, who'd obviously won it and beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like...
I remember you went on the right run, didn't you?
We went on the right run, and it just got us in, and we felt like we were probably...
Favourites to go.
Going to do it. We felt we could do it because we had that momentum. I would have pat myself up back here a little bit and said I got injured like the second last game of the season. Ben's gone to me. I'm going to rest you. We've been players. We can't finish third. We can only finish. I think we could only finish third. I think. Or fourth. We could only finish fourth. So we were going to be away. We couldn't finish third. We couldn't finish fifth. Yeah. You're going to be fourth. Rest you. And I was like, nah. I says, if I miss a week, I just feel like I'll need momentum.
Yeah.
He says, are you sure?
It's not like resting a 25
no.
year old, is it?
No, I thought I wanted to keep. I got injured playing at Taddy last minute. Playing 0-0, nothing. Didn't need to play. The ball went down channel, and I went to push off, and my hamstring just went completely tore off the bone, snapped, done, and that were it. And then obviously I'd missed the playoffs. Anyway, we lost 0-0. 0-0 at Garforth, who ended up going up. I don't think they scored. I think they won on penalties both games. And I just feel like, if I might have got, because I'd scored quite a lot of the set piece goals at that point, like a little set piece goal, or like I said, influence some of the others on the pitch just to have a little bit of a driver.
But to be fair to them, they've had a good go, haven't they?
They have. They were a good team, to be fair.
I think quite a lot of them. Garforth done well, Emily's done well.
They have. And it just shows you that the NCL is a decent level. You go up.
Good. And I think there's a little bit of that, that what I just mentioned, that good lads now are dropping into that level because of family commitments, work commitments, and some at times they can pick a little bit similar money and not travel anywhere near distances and be out of house as long. But so you've, like, I'm sure with the backing of Ben, took your new role on.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ben decided that his time had come to an end early part of the season just gone, this last season. And club approached you?
Well, originally it was Ben that said, you need to go for him.
Yeah.
You need to do it. You can see that he's got leadership qualities. I was injured, obviously. I'd kind of half retired in my head anyway. Yeah. And I said, look, Ben, I'll come and help you out. So I was helping out on the side, like, not officially, but kind of doing stuff. I'd been around and knew the lads. He said, you've got a core group of lads here who are decent, who are good. Give him a chance and you'll keep that core together and you've got something to build on, stability to build on. He was encouraging me to go for it, wanting to do it. The chairman, obviously, I knew, the people I knew. I did start to go for the interview process. Yeah. There was other people in for it, I know that. But I interviewed well as well, and knew me and obviously gave me the opportunity to be manager. And I've really enjoyed it. Yeah. It's difficult, and it's been a bit of a transition from Ben's team, and like Kingy had left. We'd lost, I think I told you before, we lost our right back to Emily, Harry. Yeah. Ross was injured for a long period of time. Manny left, who's one of our most dangerous players. So it was a bit of a transition.
Some player in that league above, unbelievable. To be fair,
he could play higher. Yeah. And he's gone back to South Africa. I think he may look to return, but if he looks to return, I think he's looking at higher. Yeah. He's motivated to go and be
the thing is, though, now, Youngie, like we're both in the same boat now, is that before, when players have moved on and you have to restructure and bring players in, it's now your job to do that, isn't it? Like, whereas before you used to be like, we need to improve, and we used to get Gaffer a nod and say, look, we need some reinforcements in, and now it's boots on your foot sort of thing, isn't it? Like,
it's making phone calls, dropping texts, trying to plan.
Are you happy where you are though, mate? I mean, you've seen
absolutely, yeah. Like I say, we
support the club and committee and everything.
The club and the chairman are fantastic. That we know what our expectations are. We do want to have a go next year. We're not going to be the highest budget in the league, but we know we can get some good players in. We've got some good young players as well who are coming through, and like I said, you're not going to win a league with a team full of 17-year-olds, but if you can add them to the experience that we want to bring in, you've got half a chance, and it's now like guiding them and leading these people.
To drop them in, isn't it?
It is,
You're not going to play them Tuesday. No. You're going to say, come out. And like back end of the season, we lost a few players, and I'll mention it to you. And rather than going and getting some more experience, like, let's give these a chance to show us what they can do. They'll either show us.
I also think that if you blood them and you're not quite ready, you then see a bit about their attitude as well. When you go not quite ready, you've not done out particularly bad. No. I'm not taking you in next week's squad. Yeah. So drop back into your 21 side, your 23 side, your reserve side, and prove a point. And then you can work a lot about players as well, not about their ability, about their personality as well. Are they going to be this Greg Young where they said, you're not strong enough, so you do something about it? And you find people out, don't you?
You do.
And I think it's hard for a youngster coming in towards the end of the season.
It is, yeah.
If you get them in and they have a full 6 weeks with you, training 2 or 3 times a week, playing friendlies, they feel part of it.
Yeah.
And then you'll see other attributes. You might have one at young lads who you think, oh, he's a winger, or he might just say, go and play fullback.
Yeah.
Training,
and then you can see something out of him. Yeah. We've got a young lad who's come in and he's by this time. I keep hearing he's got like a bit of a progression about him and a bit about him, and he gets sent off a little bit, and he got sent off at Dev's leaving one on centre forward. Yeah. But he wasn't suspended on the Monday we played Albion. I says, Ross wasn't here. I says, you're playing up front today. They're 2 big centre out. I went, just go and put your centre back. Go and do it. And. I had to play the game because obviously we had a few injuries. I was playing in car. I went, who's that little lad? He said, he reminds me of myself. I love him. I love him. He reminds me of myself when I was his age. He said he didn't mind leaving one on striker, and he had to go off their centre half. He had a big gash in his leg, and the ref came over and went, just be careful. He's on his last one. He's on his last one. But like he had that a bit about him. He's got to probably temper it a little bit. But you know what I mean? It's you see a young lad who wants to do well and got a bit not afraid.
Game of football.
So it's like seeing things like that. Can they cope with men's football? You get some and maybe can't just yet. Maybe they're not that development 17, maybe the 18, 19, 20 may have to come back a little bit, like you said. But I'm looking forward to it.
Growth spurts, like you said yourself.
Yeah.
Listen, mate, it's been class talking to you. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey. I hope you have a cracking season. You're a great lad. I think you'll do really well, apart from 2 games.
I know.
We'll have to get that on. But no, all the best.
Yeah, top man. Appreciate it. Thank you. No worries. Thank you.